In his second year in the league, Zion Williamson is already bullying grown men and bombarded his way to his very first All-Star game. Ever since his high school days, fans and opponents alike have been in awe of the sheer size of the kid. But even though from an outside appearance it seems that Zion is pure muscle, sports pundits have been somewhat critical of his weight, worried about the repercussions and if it's going to curb his potential. But what nobody can deny is that it must be quite intimidating to see someone that size running past everyone and jumping above all outstretched arms. Today we're talking about Zion Williamson's insane diet and workout. Before we get started today, don't forget to help us out and hit that bell and like button below so you can stay notified every time we put out new content. Ever since Zion has been dominating the media airwaves, he's been far and away bigger than the competition around him. But apparently this dramatic growth spurt didn't happen until halfway through his high school career. Coming into his freshman year, he was, as he calls it, still small. But small to Zion is still a staggering 6'3", 175 pounds. Zion chronicled his growth saying, "I didn't pick up all the weight until junior year. Freshman year I was small. I was 6'3", 175, like I was small. And of course, after about 2 years, I picked up 100 pounds. I mean, I wouldn't look at myself and go, wow, I'm 250. I wouldn't know I was 250 until I stepped on the scale and then I'm like, oh wow, I'm 250? I don't feel 250. I don't feel slow." And that was the crazy thing about Zion that everybody was amazed by. Not only was he a 250-pound high schooler, but he was flying down the court and through the air like he was a skinny guy. Zion talked about this more, saying, "With all that weight just came more athleticism and finding myself able to do new things. People always say you have to grow into your body, but for me, it wasn't even growing into my body. The more the weight came, it didn't faze me. It made me faster, stronger. It helped me become more of a versatile player." Zion wasn't lying. By the time he finished his historically efficient season at Duke, he was poised to become the #1 overall pick in the draft. He was a whopping 285 pounds, only 5 pounds less than Boban Marjanovic, the largest guy in the league. Like he said, despite his weight, he was more athletic than any other prospect in the draft and was already looking like a top-tier athlete in the league. Mind you, he was only 19 years old. But despite his stellar athleticism, sports pundits like Kendrick Perkins and Glenn Big Baby Davis were openly worried about his weight and eating habits, stating that he may eat himself into injury or poor conditioning. While both these former players were known for their sometimes ridiculous takes, their concerns were certainly real, as both have struggled with their weight in the past, and not to mention Zion was heading into a city where food is more often fried than not. Perkins even joked about this, tweeting, "Pelicans better lock Zion in the house because I could hear those good people in New Orleans saying, 'Hey baby, you want some fried gator?' I'm telling y'all, I played for the Pelicans and it's food everywhere." Perk wasn't too far off. Zion's first meal down in the Big Easy was a plate of fried shrimp and a big old helping of mashed potatoes. Now Zion shouldn't be criticized for trying the famously good cuisine down there, as long as he knows that it can't become a staple of his diet. This was on the back burner of everyone's mind when Zion sat out for most of the regular season during his rookie year, even though he and his coaching staff had denied his weight had anything to do with his prolonged injury. Regardless, Zion's rookie season showed flashes of great potential but was ultimately a disappointment. So coming into this year, he quietly revamped his diet and reportedly dropped around 25 pounds, although you wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at him. While he hadn't shared much about his diet, he was apparently fulfilling Perkins' worries and indulging in a little bit too much soul food down in Louisiana. So to prepare for his first full year in the league, he decided to cut most of it out of his diet, switching from bacon and other red meats smothered in sauces, to fillets of salmon to consume most of his protein while adding in healthy omega-3s. Cutting out the calorie and sodium-filled foods and replacing them with a more typical athlete diet certainly led the way for Zion's weight loss, but it will also lend itself towards keeping him healthy, as now his recovery time will be much quicker and being lighter on his feet means less scary landings when he goes up for one of his ridiculous highlight dunks. So now that we know that Zion has been switching up his diet and has reportedly lost up to 25 pounds, how did he become the muscle-bound freak he is in the first place? Well, first off, Zion had genetics to thank when it came to his body, strength, and speed. If there was a way to become strong and stay fast while jumping that high, we'd be seeing a lot more NBA players like him. But in all honesty, there's not one secret way to get that athletic. Zion is an enigma, a lone island in a sea of athletes. In fact, you may not believe it, but Zion said the way he got so big in high school was simply doing push-ups and sit-ups. Yes, you heard that right. The way Zion Williamson got as huge as he is was all started by something any of us could do in our living rooms. But like I said, do as many push-ups and sit-ups as you want. Zion's genetics are what allowed him to get that size. And now that he's in the NBA, he has access to the best trainers and the best facilities in the country. While he hasn't talked about an in-depth workout routine yet, he has stated that he has been concentrating heavily on cardio and conditioning, especially since the pandemic hit. So while he's surely still lifting in order to maintain his strength, he's been running and stretching heavily to keep himself healthy. After all, health has been the only thing that Zion has struggled with in his short career in the league. But despite his hesitancy to explain his workout routine so far in his career, many people have tried to replicate workouts to emulate how high Zion can jump. That's how you know you have out-of-this-world athletics, when dozens of workout routines are based on just how high you can jump. And these workouts don't start with anything intense. Instead, they focus on getting the body ready to exert large amounts of energy and focus on improving agility in the process. So a typical one of these workouts starts with an eccentric squat, which starts with your arms in front of you, and a slow and deliberate squat into a fast stand-up. The main point of this is to get your quads parallel to the ground in order to activate the hamstrings and quads and prepare them for an explosion upwards. Once you complete a few of these sets, you could add a dumbbell and then a barbell, preparing your body for a more explosive jump. Then it's all about learning to transfer that movement into an actual jump. In order to best optimize the movement, it's important to focus on not dipping or swaying anymore once you're in the squat position and you're about to jump. This way, all the force you're about to exhibit is going straight up instead of elsewhere. The next thing you could do is the arc skip, which is a series of high skips trying to get both as far and high as you can on each skip. It's important to spend as little time as you can in an attempt to improve your second jump and the elasticity of your ankles. Something Zion does that goes a little unnoticed is how quickly he can get off the floor on his second jump. He could mistime a rebound attempt, but he's able to get off the ground so quickly when he lands that he could still snag it away from the opponent. The next part of the workout really builds off the idea of the last one while still working on explosivity. This is achieved through a box jump, but with a short jump just before you jump onto the box or bleacher or whatever you're using. This once again tests your ability to get up high and fast off the second jump, something that's tough to do if you're not using the right form. And now I know we've hit this point over time and time again, but just doing these workouts won't allow you the jumping and athletic ability that Zion's genetics have allowed himself. But they will allow you to use the same techniques he uses to reach his crazy potential, and maybe you could reach your jumping potential using these too. That's it for today. Do you think you could keep up with Zion in the gym or on the court? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay notified when we put out new content.